Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and today we're going to be starting a new series called Roster Building 101. This entire series is going to be focused around getting giving you advice, tips, tricks, characters that will allow your roster to get better. And today's lesson will be focused on versatility, the characters that are actually going to make your account better now and will grow with you, rather than sometimes where we do these, almost like a band-aid character, where you build a character to fill a role in a team because it's cheap or because, eventually that's what I do. But, there's better options to choose from. That spending a little bit more now gets you more versatility later. Sometimes we kind of shoehorn ourselves with certain teams and it causes problems down the road, and then you end up not being able to do something. So you guys will kind of see what I mean by this list with versatility. Please like and subscribe, comment down below. Let's give a shout out to our channel members for their continued support. If you're ever interested, that link is down below, along with a link to the Discord server. Go check it out. Go join. Thank you guys again for continuing your patronage. I really appreciate it. You all are the best channel members in the world, and I couldn't ask for a better group of people to be talking to go with. Let's get in here. Let's talk roster building 101. Oh, of course, it's on start your game, because why would it say anything different? All right, so let's start this off hot, and we're going to be going with Imperial Remnants. I want to make sure we're very clear about something. This is not a comprehensive list, nor is this build every single character. I'm going to give you a lot of options. There's going to be a lot of characters here, and that you're going to be able to pick and choose based on what you want and your account maybe has. So Imperial Remnants are one of these factions that has gotten a lot of love in the past year or so, and with those additions, there's some things that we can do that will allow you to build a more versatile, part of your account and really get a lot of teams for not just 3v3, but also 5v5 and then other aspects. So let's start off with just the Dark Trooper Moff Gideon team. So Dark Trooper Moff Gideon team here, you're going to be using, these characters here, and this is what I was using for the longest time, right? This is my Dark Trooper Moff Gideon team. It stole from Iden, it stole from Veers. When you look, like I was taking from Iden, Scout Trooper, Stormtrooper, Death Trooper, and taking Moff Gideon away from the Veers team, right? From those Imperial Troopers. So it kind of left you like, oh man, I don't really have the Imperial Troopers here to make these squads happen. But then they went and released Night Trooper, Enoch, and Death Trooper Peridia. And now you're able to kind of sub in some of these characters and not quite steal from as many things. So with those characters, the first thing you can do is just put them all with Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, and then choose OG Moff Gideon, Scout Trooper, or you can put whoever as the fifth. I would probably say Scout Trooper or OG Moff Gideon would be your fifth unit here. Yes, for 5v5, is this the best team? Because we can do some different things. You guys will see, but this is a solid enough team, right? You're going to get enough uses out of this. Put probably Moff Gideon here, and then you still have a very good Iden Versio team available with Scout Trooper. You could throw Range Trooper in there, kind of steal from the Veers team and let it fall to the wayside, or you can, try to build an Iden team and still keep the Veers team at least somewhat active here. But what I have been doing is keeping Enoch here. I throw Scout Trooper, Moff Gideon, and then probably Stormtrooper. Use a team like this, or even Death Trooper can go here, right? Your fifth team, just another remnant. But I use this team here. Enoch works pretty well with these guys. And then what I do is I go stick my Death Trooper Peridia and Night Trooper and utilize that Night Sister tag. Put them with the Great Mother team. And now I've got two A+ teams in a Dark Trooper Moff Gideon team and a, Night Sister team. And then I still get an Iden Versio team because I can, because I've taken Moff Gideon away from that, Veers team, they're not quite as good, but I can still build an Iden team with these characters, or even with Death Trooper instead of Stormtrooper. That I still get an Iden Versio team at the end of the day, and that's really good. So now I've got this Omicron team in Iden. I've got a good Dark Trooper Moff Gideon team. I have lost Veers, but Veers is something that I've said, hey, not quite as good because you're taking away from Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. I think those Imperial Remnants, not every single one, but kind of building some of these guys like Range and Storm and the Remnants, you're going to have that option that when you do get Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, all you have to worry about is building him because you've built these other pieces in place to take advantage. The next grouping here we're talking about is Galactic Republic Jedi. And these guys, it's just so crazy how good this faction is, how many bangers there are here. So I've got Keller and Beck and General Kenobi here. And what I'm kind of starting out with is saying, hey, when you're building the best Qui-Gon Jinn team possible and you're thinking about the best Qui-Gon Jinn team with the Omicron, obviously you're looking at these 3 characters. But what you would see a lot of us do, like myself, is I'm throwing Mace Windu in here, and then I've got Ayla or Lumi or Barriss. I've kind of got some other random Galactic Republic Jedi, right? But Keller and Beck slots in here really, really well. And honestly, General Kenobi is a better unit than Mace Windu for this team. So, yes, eventually General Kenobi will go with your Jedi Master Kenobi. But until that point, this team's so friggin' good. General Kenobi, because he has that taunt, can kind of stop some of those counters or make it a little bit more challenging to kill Qui-Gon Jinn with this team and potentially get you a first turn hold while Qui-Gon is still alive because of these guys, right? It's actually kind of crazy when it does work out that way because they're just so incredibly good. And then on top of that, because you've built Keller and Beck, now you have a team that's available for territory wars or even in Conquest with these Galactic Republic Jedi and get a really good team going there. But I also have the 2 Battle for Naboo guys here, Padawan Obi-Wan, Master Qui-Gon. Depending on what your roster looks like, maybe you build a Galactic Republic team under Keller and Beck with these 2 and Kenobi, and you kind of leave your Qui-Gon Jinn team alone. That's another option as well, that you've built these guys. If you've built Kenobi in this for the assault battle, sure, you don't have Queen Amidala, but there's other ways to utilize their kits and at least make them somewhat good until you do get Queen Amidala. And that's kind of this thing where, okay, you get Queen Amidala, now you lose your Keller and Beck team, but you're going to kind of put Queen Amidala in its place, and Keller and Beck goes with Qui-Gon, and you got 2 upgrades. So you can kind of give your Galactic Republic Jedi this complete overhaul because of how good some of these units are and where they fit in. And sure, you might not need Keller and Beck until you go for Bo-Katan Mandalore, but he's that good that he's worth building early, and similarly with General Kenobi. A lot of times I've seen players who don't always build him until they're going for Jedi Master Kenobi, and they're missing out on one of the best Galactic Republic Jedi tanks in the game, and obviously he's a fleet commander. So, highly recommend building some of those units early, even though Fat Phil, Arnold, Sanjita, Calvin, Nooch, Agnards, name it, insert content creator here, aren't using them with our Qui-Gon. Doesn't mean that's not the best team. We just have a better purpose for them outside of it. All right, I mean, obviously all of these, I can't not mention these guys, right? These are all like fantastic characters, but the big thing that I really want to talk about here is Cal. Ahsoka and Ezra, I just have to put them in here, say, get them as soon as possible, put them with Rey, put them with whoever, they're friggin' good. But Cal. This guy here, I think, gets slept on for one major purpose. I talk all the time about putting him with Rey. Do you know a really good team that you can build here? I don't know that everybody kind of puts 2 and 2 together here. But we're going to do it, and now you guys already know where we're going, right? But talk about a team like this. This is a banger. This is really good. Be very clear. Visas is the 5th unit because at the time, she was one of the few light side unaligned Force users that didn't have a home, and she was kind of, decent. But, half the time for me, she's just standing there. At least Cal Kestis is doing stuff, right? Allies gain 30% max health and tenacity for UFUs, right? Doesn't matter who. And then, obviously, there's additional benefits there for unaligned Force users, right? He also has a heal. He's got additional buffs here as well. Allies gain critical damage up, speed up. Allied unaligned Force users gain turn meter for debuff resisted. He has some really good stuff in his kit that actually helps keep Starkiller alive, and now you have a better Starkiller team for the time being until you do get the Seer team or until you decide to throw him with GL Rey. So Cal kind of has this purpose that you can get him, and even if you don't have the Seer team, still really good to throw him with here, even if you don't have Rey, which a lot of players, I think, miss this opportunity. And that way you don't have to worry about gearing up Visas all the way after you've already at least taken Cal to gear 12, right? So kind of, throwing him in there allows you to be more versatile. And then eventually, yes, maybe you do have to build Visas. But for that time, you got to use that gear and put it somewhere else, right? Because what you want to avoid, right, is what we want to avoid, is these situations like Tarful, where I've got this gear 12 guy just sitting here doing nothing because the Wookiee faction sucks. But, Cal, putting him here, you're getting some use out of him, allowing yourself to be more versatile with your gear and build into those teams as you get there, right? And then obviously with Commander, Ahsoka Tano, Ezra, I don't need to go in. I just had to put them here because everybody would say, where are they? All right, Captain Drogan, Captain Rex. I get this list is very heavy Kyrotech, but this is something that a lot of these newer characters are, I think, the best at, is they've been releasing them and they kind of have a multitude of tags or fit into a multitude of teams. And with these two guys, they have this Rebel Fighter tag. And with the release of Luthen, Rebel Fighters are really freaking good. But even prior to Luthen and even prior to me having Saw, I was using Captain Drogan and Captain Rex with Mon Mothma in that, Rebel Fighter team, like using their Rebel Fighter tags to take advantage and build a Mon Mothma team that was actually pretty freaking good, right? So by kind of getting you to think of Drogan outside of the Leia team, that Rebel Fighter tag makes sense. And it's the same thing with Captain Rex. We always talk about him as a clone trooper and as a Phoenix. But that Rebel Fighter tag, now with Luthen, hey, really, really good. But before you get Leia, if you put Drogan and Captain Rex kind of on a team together, dude, they're unbelievably good. And they not only are like just, oh, you can't Wampa that team anymore. Like, I've seen them stop some pretty solid teams, especially with Datacrons going on right now. There's some really interesting things that Drogan can do, particularly with Saw. But that's a way to think about them, right? Versatility that, all right, I'm going to build Saw, Captain Drogan, Captain Rex, and then I'm just going to throw, like, Wedge and Biggs in there. All right, fine, or I'm going to throw Kyle in there, whatever, right? You build some random Rebel Fighter team. Is it an A-plus team? No, because there's no Luthen. But it's better than, just using, like, Saw with Wedge, Biggs, and Lando and Kyle, right? And now what you've done is you're, step closer to Leia, and then maybe by the time you do get Leia, Luthen's available, and you can get him. And so what this is about doing is saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to build a really good team that's going to have investment that as I grow, I'm going to continue to get better. And then it's just, all right, I'll build Sharut and Baze to throw with Luthen eventually. But it's a lot easier to do that as your account has progressed rather than trying to do it right away. This is kind of where I would head in that direction. Like, does that make sense that we're trying to utilize the tags that are available, even if you're not going for Leia right away? Thinking of these two guys can be really beneficial, right? So yeah, think of them as Rebel Fighters. All right, look, Great Mothers are here. This is an Unreal team. This is more so the versatility I'm looking at here is more so that they can house Death Trooper and Night Trooper. If, like, these two are still the priority over the Great Mothers because of the fact that they have two tags. The one problem with the Great Mothers and Morgan here is that they only have the Night Sister. Now, sure, you can put the other random Night Sisters there, and that's the one thing that I think we really can look at here is that they can house Death Trooper and Night Trooper, and they can house those random Night Sisters that sit in your, squad. And this team just gets really good. It takes a lot to beat this. And again, for only 3 Zetas, a little bit of Kyrotech, you're getting an A-plus tier team here. So the versatility these girls offer isn't so much around themselves, but allowing you to utilize parts of your roster that otherwise you wouldn't. So there's kind of that twofold versatility, right? Some guys, it's, like Rex, it's the tags that he's got. Because of all these tags, he's versatile, that I can use him as a clone trooper, as a Phoenix, a Rebel, or Rebel Fighter, right? He's going to get all of those benefits. Where you compare that to Morgan Great Mothers, where they each only have that Night Sister tag, but the versatility of who you put in their team is what makes them A-plus material, right? And again, where they elevate those characters too. Finally, Jango and Watt, 2 low Kyrotech characters. I don't think enough players give credit to Watt Tambor. Again, still the king of plug and play. And with some of these Separatist teams, I've used him with General Grievous, I've used him with Trench, I've used him with Sith Eternal and Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, JML. Like, there's a lot of ways that you can utilize Watt to your advantage. And he still, I think, is a very good plug and play. Definitely not what he once was because the Blast Tech used to be able to ignore defense, so there was a lot more going on there. But overall, still a very good character. And that Blast Tech mod, just bear in mind, this is really good on Dathomir because an enemy defeated by them can't be revived. So if you're on the planet Dathomir and you're trying to get through that and you throw Watt in a team that maybe doesn't prevent revives naturally, but you're killing somebody with those Blast Tech mods, man, it's obscene. Right? It's actually obscene. And remember, it's just enemies defeated by this character can't be revived. There's no at the, on their turn or anything. So even if it's an assist, this is still going to work. But Jango, those tags though, I love these tags, man. Bounty Hunter, Mandalorian, Mercenary, Scoundrel, Separatist. You name it, he fits in there. Obviously, you're not going to build, most players don't build him until Jedi Master Kenobi, and I can understand that. But the fact that he has all of those different tags is what makes him a valuable character. That when you're thinking of building that Balin team, right? Here's a good example, with Mercenaries. A lot of players thinking, hey, should I build Balin? Yes, does Jango have the most synergy with that team? No. But I would rather have Jango in my team than Boba Fett sign a Jango, right? I can find more uses of Jango Fett than his friggin' son that sucks, right? I mean, he's pretty good with the Balin team, so I can't lie. But outside of the Balin team, not a lot of uses. But I can build Jango and use him in a million different teams, whether it's Trench or Bounty Hunters or with Dash Rendar or with, Afra. I mean, whoever. Like, the possibilities are endless with that guy. And so what he allows you to do is kind of have a more fleshed out team that you can kind of plug him and play with him in these various 3v3, 5v5, and as your roster grows, you can just slot him into a new team, right? That maybe you eventually build Boba Fett, Sana, Jango, and Hondo, and then it's finally time for you to start treating him like a Separatist and put him with our GOAT Trench, right? So that's kind of how you can think of roster, building, is versatility of the unit. How can I utilize that character that as my account grows, where do they fit in? Thinking about these remnants that initially you're going to use them with Veers and Iden, and then maybe we're going to use them with Dark Trooper Moff Gideon or with the Enoch team, right? As your account grows, the characters go with it rather than some of these units that you build for a time and then they kind of go thumbs down and belly up and you're like, what the hell am I supposed to do with them? These are all ones that grow with that account that even at 12 million galactic power, we're still using them all the time rather than those characters that, yes, they held you over for a time and now it's time to ditch them to the curb, right? So let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Hopefully this kind of helps you. Just when you're building a roster, think about that versatility. How are you going to use them when you're a, 20 million, when you're a 10 million GP player? Are they still going to be valuable, or are they going to be something that you're just going to toss to the side that they were kind of a band-aid until you got something else? Let me know your thoughts. Like, subscribe, comment. I love you all. May the Force be with you, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, my friends.